We're back! It's a podcast.
Yeah, Maddie, bring that energy, girl. Yeah.
Guys, thank you for
what
coming
an
on
intro.
my show. Yes, I like to pump it up. All of us work. We're tired, but we get so fired up to talk about wrestling. I got my dude here, Justin from The Bird and the Villain. I have SPD and Crayfish here from Dynamite Download. Thank you guys for coming on. How have you guys been?
Busy, real busy. You know, it's been like this week is, 3-show week for us. Last week was a 3-show week for us, and we're really pushing hard on the road to All Out. It's going to be right around our 1-year anniversary as a brand, and we're going to be there All Out weekend. We're going to be there Friday for Rampage and Sunday for All Out, so it's going to be a fun weekend in Chicago. So we're getting that final grind, the final push. We're a month away, so been busy pounding the pavement.
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. I'm working like a dog right now. The dog days of summer, and I'm telling you, All Out is going to be a party, folks. Crayfish is going to be getting the beer pong going. We got the banner. We're going to be grilling. Justin, I hope that you can make it, my man. I would love. I'll cook you up a burger, whatever you want, man. It'll be a great day, and I'll rock the bowling shirt too while I do it. You gotta look good while you do that party, man.
I'm kind of jealous that y'all get to go all 3 of those events, man.
What the hell? I'm jealous too.
There now.
It's a big deal, man. I don't know about you guys, but SPD and I at Dynamite Download, we've been talking about it this summer. You can really feel that's why our motto is, buckle up, because it feels like AEW has got the foot on the pedal. They're going pedal to the metal. You're hearing so many great rumors. I know, Maddie, the internet, you're on social all the time. And I know the internet is buzzing with AEW right now. It's absolutely a great time to be an AEW fan. We cannot wait to see what Tony Khan, QT Marshall, the Elite, Cody, what they all have in store for us at All Out. It's going to be a heck of a weekend, guys.
Look, before I get started, I'm going to give a shout out to everybody that's in here. But first, I want you guys to, once this is over, head over to the Dynamite Download podcast. Head over to The Bird and the Villain, and please subscribe. Dynamite Download had QT Marshall on last Friday, so please check that out. And The Bird and the Villain consistently bringing on people, refs and indie wrestlers. Please check it out. Please support. Podcasts come together to support each other. It is a beautiful thing. We're talking wrestling here. I want to say hello to Brian, DJ Storms, Renegade Ryan, Courtney, Lou.
So many great people out there.
So many great people. No Neck Bone Tone. Anna, thank you guys for joining us as always. We are here to have a party. Next time I'm going to have streamers and stuff like that.
I like it. SPD, I know that you got all sorts of things planned for All Out weekend. Gonna bust out some celebratory danglies. I know you're excited to debut those for people.
I just got those in the mail today. I forgot to put one in, but maybe I'll sneak over and put a dangly in. But I did get some fresh danglies for Team Danglies. Even though I am a baby face, I can rock a dangly or two.
Team Danglies.
The Young Bucks pose at one time.
We did. Well, Crayfish and I did when we were down in Jacksonville in February. I flew my drone before the arena, and we got a drive-by Young Bucks, flex off. It was pretty cool, and then Daly's place right behind us. So we'll definitely get some of that.
Now, Bone Tone, get the drone. We have a drone too, so we got to do that. Aerial views.
I know we're all geeking out about All Out too. Like, when was the now that it's opening up and AEW's on tour, where are you guys all at? I know, Maddie, you're a New Yorker. Justin, Jersey. Sorry, I knew you were East Coaster.
I'm New Yorker. You know that.
I'm from New York, born and raised. I reside in Jersey.
Well, be proud of being from Jersey. QT Marshall, one of God's gift to wrestling, is from Jersey. So not a bad place to be right now. But I know you love yourself some Santana Ortiz because you love that Brooklyn pride. That's Justin, where are you from, man?
You are riding that QT high way too
much. Oh, man. Dude, you got it. Did you check out that interview? Because you're going to fall in love with this man. He's the working man's hero.
That's true.
I'm actually in Jacksonville.
No kidding.
Yes, yeah.
And that's why you've had an opportunity to be to Daly's place quite a few times. I know I've seen you post some awesome stuff on social. Tell us about the experience, being down there, like homecoming. What'd you think about this show? I know you're a loyal fan who's made the trek there to Dailies and supported. We've had some great fans here at Dynamite Download who are locals and who just have been there through thick and thin. What'd you think about this week's show, man? What was a standout moment to you?
It's probably the Malakai Black Cody Rhodes match.
Oh,
everybody.
So let's talk about it.
Such good. Yeah,
That's
man.
what we're looking forward.
We're starting with the main event. Justin, you were there live. Hit us up. How did that feel?
It was the crowd was ecstatic for Malakai Black. You talking about Cody Rhodes was the heel last night? You know.
Yes.
We've seen it.
They
You
were
know,
He's
cheering.
become the John Cena of AEW, folks.
And we're just waiting for him to turn heel. It's going to happen. We all know Cody Rhodes is going to eventually do it.
Please.
Do you think so?
Yes. With
Oh.
the black hair. We got a teaser.
Get rid of the blonde hair, go black hair, Cody Rhodes. Give me heel Cody Rhodes. But Malakai Black, what a freaking statement he made last night. That kick to Cody Rhodes when he hopped in the ring and stood up. The crowd was like, everybody around me's eyes were just huge. Like, wow. That's all you heard was wow. When that
And
happened.
from the moment he was there, right, Justin? I mean, it was like the moment he stepped out of that entrance with the horns and the aura. I told SPD, you know, this dude just gets it, right? He just gets what it means to be a star. He presents himself with the mystique. You get those goosebumps from the minute he walks through the tunnel, and he carries that into his in-ring work, man. Like when you saw what he did, how much we talked about it. Probably the most impressive in-ring debut in AEW history, you know, breaking through like this against Cody, really decimating Cody Rhodes. And the way he stood, his foot on his chest with a pin, the disrespect. Dude, I know that, I know Malakai as I love myself, the heels at AEW, but like you said, man, just the crowd was eating out of the palm of this guy's hand. They loved him. It was unbelievable. It's a testimony to the showman that this guy is.
You know, I think it was JR said a couple weeks ago on a podcast or something that Malakai is a game changer. They expect big things from Malakai. And I think last night, just like you said, that presence, that ring entrance set the tone. And he truly was a game changer. He stepped it up another notch for AEW. And I didn't watch WWE. I knew nothing about Aleister Black. I knew Tommy in before then. So this is all new to me.
Wow.
So
that has to be really cool. Like just to have that experience is like to see this guy and his mystique, man.
I've never seen him before.
No kidding.
You see, I was away from wrestling for over 10 years.
AEW brought you back?
Yes, at the end of 2019. And
that's awesome.
You know, and thankfully, I got to give big ups to my man, Trey from We Love Wrestling. He started bringing me into the indies. So now I'm like an indies fan. I'm an AEW fan. I'm going to start dipping my toes in SmackDown a little bit because, you know, I grew up with WWE. So,
me too.
I don't hate any wrestling.
Exactly.
I love it all. Every wrestling company has its shit. And you know what? Watch what you like.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that 100%. You know, like let's own up to the fact that like so many of us, if we're adults and we like wrestling, it's usually because we liked it when we were kids, right? And let's own up to that, and let's embrace the fact that, you know, WWE has its sins, it has its faults, but it's not wholly bad, and it's had a lot of more good than bad over the years. And it certainly has helped shape my fandom. But, you know, Maddie, the more you see outside of WWE, and that's why Cody's promo was so great, not just an alternative, the competition, you know, a company that has emerged now, because for me, you know, I've been able to get into ECW and Impact and Ring of Honor over the years and going to see shows in bingo halls, doing the independent scene. I like that. And I'm a geek like that. But to see AEW emerge as a legitimate contender to take the throne is unlike anything we've seen in a long, long time. And I think that's special to acknowledge. And I think that's a tip of the cap to Cody in his promo after the match that Dynamite was a lot about man, you know, a lot of people take it for granted now that we can just sign Malakai Black. We can just sign Andrade and just start bringing in all these names. Everybody takes it for granted now, but Cody remembers what it was like to start this from literally nothing.
From scratch.
Literally. And it's a beautiful thing, man. And that's what I talked about. Everybody was buzzing about Malakai, and Justin, I don't blame you. If I was there, I'd be geeking about Malakai too.
Me too.
But with the privilege of watching from home, and maybe it's because I'm the heel. Maybe I like heel Cody. But
You're heel.
I feel like Cody doesn't get the love and respect that he deserves right now. I think that Cody is kind of taken for granted. It's kind of an in thing to hate on Cody right now. And me personally, this guy is such a foundational piece. You could put anybody in the ring against him, and you know that they're going to come out looking better. And that's something to not brush over, right? That's an important thing that's rare these days in a very cutthroat industry.
So
look who he put over. So many people: Brody Lee, Darby Allin, MJF, Ricky Starks, Eddie Kingston,
my guy
Pretty
Darby.
Peter Avalon.
He's just so like, the thing is that when you're on top, you're gonna have the most hate. That's just pretty much the way it is. He's the top EVP. You know, he's the face of the company. Really, you see the most from him. You hear the most from him. It's his position. It's his job, and he's gonna have hate. I always say success breeds hate, and you just gotta roll with it. And you know you're successful when you're getting more and more of that shit. You just have to learn how to shut it down, not pay too much mind to it.
It's tough.
You know,
well said.
Hey, Marcus, and I saw Crow, Lou. Thank you guys for joining. We are here discussing AEW. Anna thinks that guy that wants to know if Cody's going to retire.
So
no.
I don't think so either. Where we were talking about on our show, we had to cut it off because there's a deep conversation. But I think to protect Cody, he just steps away for now because the fans are starting to turn on him, like they turned on John Cena and Roman Reigns. If you want to cross compare top guys,
great point, SPD.
I think you just have him be off TV for a little bit, make the fans miss him, make them miss him a lot, be a dad, and then when his return, it's going to be such a huge pop. Look at what John Cena pop got against Roman Reigns. Bring him back as the red hot babyface against the top heel, and he'll be, Captain America again, Captain Savior. We're slowly seeing, we can all appreciate what Cody has done in and outside the ring as an ambassador and for the company. But, with this Malakai Black feud, the short-lived feud, we're seeing the fans turn on him quickly, and we don't want to see him getting booed when he should be your top babyface.
And we started to see that happen when the factory turned on Cody, right? Like people were like, Anthony Ogogo's the heel. You saw that everywhere on Twitter. Like people were like, I don't know, man. Anthony's kind of spitting some truth right now, I think
everybody's ready to see Cody be a heel. What you think, Justin?
Here's the deal: is Malakai was hugely over last night, but there was still a huge portion of that crowd chanting Cody. So what we have to understand is we're on Twitter. We're the smarks. Okay?
You're right. You're right, Justin.
And we go, we hate Cody. The casual fan is looking at us like we're a complete idiot when we're over here.
You're right. Malakai Black just took him out, folks. Malakai Black it's confirmed. He took him out.
Sorry.
Thanks
so
for
we're over here bad mouthing Cody, but the casual fans are going, "We love him, dude. That's Dusty Rhodes' son."
Right.
Yeah.
So,
amen. And that's why, SPD, I know you've always loved and respected Cody's place. It's very easy to sling arrows, but when you see the pressure that this guy has, when you see the way he carries himself, a lot of us would fall short if we were in the same shoes. And I think that, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I think you have to give respect to a man who has the pressure of an entire company, an entire dream on his shoulders. I love what Cody's doing. I don't think he's going to retire, but I certainly agree with you, Maddie, SPD. I think all of us here are in a consensus. If you move Cody away from television for a little bit, let him focus on some of his outside interests, which we know he has a lot of, right? Let him do that and allow some of these other stars. I mean, how often do we talk about it? This AEW roster is already insanely loaded with talent, not to mention the talent that they're bringing in and that they're rumored to have interest in. There's a lot of room for other talents to step in, allow us to miss Cody, allow us to, like you said, SPD, allow us to have that moment where we recognize his place. Let him come back and get goated all over again. I'm all for it.
It will happen.
What did y'all think of Cody's comments in his speech about AEW being competition? And we knew exactly what he was referring to.
Let me throw this out there. I mean, for me, I got into a little Twitter beef with Vince Russo because I happened to say that, we try really hard to be super positive and we don't like to say anything bad about anybody. But I kind of happened to mention, don't be upset at fans who want to see AEW win the war. And he was like, what war? What are you saying? He got all mad. He latched on to war. And all I meant by that is, man, every company, when you start up, you have a war for people's eyeballs, man. Let's just be real. And yes, the elephant in the room, yeah, the WWE, I love AEW. I think that I want it to be successful. I don't want the WWE to squish it and defeat it like it has with all these other companies. I love AEW, so I don't want that to happen to it. So pardon me as a fan of this company for maybe pushing back and delighting in the moments that people never thought would happen, where we're selling out arenas, where we're hitting over 1 million viewers regularly. There's something to be said for that. And I don't feel like AEW fans should always be on the defensive, but I think that there's nothing wrong with being proud and excited about this product growing and becoming a real competitor, Justin. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for it.
And I feel it will.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm with you, Renegade.
No, go ahead, Justin. I was just saying it will.
Absolutely crazy not to think that Tony Khan and the EVPs haven't talked about, hey, where do we want to be 10 years from now?
Yep.
Yeah.
How do we want that to look compared to WWE 10 years now? I think we're absolutely crazy because Tony's a smart man. He's a visionary. He's looking into the future going, where do we want AEW to be? How big do we want to be? What type of ratings are we expecting to have?
Yes. And they're putting so much money into, these are billionaires, okay? They know money. This is not their only business. So they are business owners. They know how businesses work.
Yeah.
Right. So, multiple business owners. And so this is not their first rodeo. It is their first wrestling, but they have WWE literally right there to build off of.
And right now, WWE's just like, hey, you want talent? Here you go.
Vince kind of casually joked about that.
He did. But it's what he's going to do because he's Vince. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you cannot say that WWE is going down. I don't want it ever to go down. It has been around for 30 plus years. This company's been around forever.
Right.
It's never gone down.
Die. It's not. They're not going to die.
And God, don't let it die because
we don't want that.
Wrestlers.
Competition is always good, and it makes people stronger.
What's one of the things we always talk about, SPD? Iron sharpens iron, right?
Right. Uplift others as you climb too.
Yep.
I love that. And that's what we're trying to do at this podcast.
Exactly.
That's it. We all want each other to be successful. It's not about you can't have that bite of the pie because I want it. It's not about that. I want all of us to get fed.
That reminds me of a part in our QT Marshall interview, how he was saying, well, this is surprising that All Out sold out with 0 matches booked. They sold out an arena, and it's not about a star. It's about the brand as a whole. We selling out a match or a pay-per-view 104 for the year with 0. That's just a testament to the brand as a whole. And that's what I loved. Part of in that interview we talked to him about. It was just the representing and everyone, living and dying by the brand, not by chasing to be the top guy or girl in the company. So I love that part.
That's been consistent in the interviews that we've been able to have, guys. Anytime you get a chance to talk to anybody associated with AEW, it's really evident. And I know SPD, that's one of the things you love about this brand is just you could tell the camaraderie, the backstage feel. It's just there's no room for drama. We're not it just isn't tolerated, and I think that's a good thing. I love that. Yeah, it keeps things rolling in the right direction.
I love that they don't have that locker room shit going on. And yes, it's a newer company, so they haven't had the chance to build these things, but it seems like they like to nip that shit in the butt.
So true.
Quickly. And I was at an indie show. I was at Battle Club Pro on Saturday. Big ups to Battle Club Pro and Jobber Tears podcast for putting on probably one of the best indie shows that I have ever seen.
Wow.
Nice.
Talent. It was beautiful. It'll be live. Well, it won't be live, but it'll be on Title Match, and I think in another week or so.
Nice.
But I met a lot of wrestlers there that have actually been on Dark, and they said they love the locker room. So
Nice.
big ups to AEW. Let's move on, y'all.
All right.
SPD, give me the next match. What you want to talk about next?
Of course. I mean, one of my favorites, Chris Jericho. Let's tell Labor number 3.
Oh, baby.
Woo!
Oh, baby.
You stuck
Labor
us
number
on to
3
SPD.
versus Juventud. And talked about I talked about it on our show last week and this week. It felt like Jericho was taking about 80% abuse and only dishing out 20% offense. And for someone his age going through these type of extreme labors, it's pretty impressive. I know we've talked about it time and time again, how we think he's the godfather, and he should be like the godfather, kind of delegating his inner circle to do the dirty work. But time and time again, Jericho is featured in a match. He's the one who goes out there and fights his own battles. He fights every single battle. And he's been through it in all. And the finish of that was great. I think the second half of the match was much better than the first part. Yeah. It was a perfect way to kick off a banging Dynamite, singing Judas. I feel like the fans, I mean, Justin, you can probably attest to this, are getting louder and louder for Judas, and the pops are getting bigger and bigger for Jericho as he gets closer and closer to the public enemy number 1, MJF. And
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm good at interrupting.
Oh, no, that was it for now.
Well, I
Dancing.
I was just saying that I wanted to address a comment real quick that Brandon Beck put up about the Cody chants. He said that was his students. I was there last night. There was a way more than his students chanting for Cody last night.
On, yeah.
Way. There was 2,000 people there. There was way more than.
People say the same thing, Justin. People said the same thing about people getting paid to sing along to Judas, man. Yeah. Just noise, brother. And I'll be honest with you. Hey, if they're his students, more power to them, man. We talked to QT. The work that Cody and QT put into the factory, I'd be cheering for him too, man. Whatever. To me, Cody Rhodes is just like Jericho, a guy who is a legend, a living legend. And right now, I think that Jericho, SPD, you've talked about it. He's looking exhausted. He's looking beaten. He's looking worn out. And it's no wonder, man, like what he's gone through has been brutal at this point.
Yes.
Going against the War Dog with MJF as the special referee is going to be hell. I mean, that we thought a pizza cutter to the face was bad. Yes. An unleashed, angry Wardlow with a lot to prove, with a lot of people automatically assuming he's going to lose. I think War Dog's going to take it out on your guy Jericho next week.
Give me Wardlow.
And we all want to see it, man. I've been preaching it. Wardlow he's an undeniable force. He's one of those guys who commands your attention as soon as he's on screen. And his in-ring work it reminds me of a young Brock Lesnar. And there's no wonder why he does the F10 as an ode to the beast incarnate. I think that the labors of Jericho have been really a beautiful thing. As you got to see not only the chapters of his career play out, from the Painmaker to his feud with Juventud Guerrera, with the Lionheart days, you get to see that, but you also see what this man is willing to go through, the love of the business, the commitment to the business. It's a real tip of the hat. And it does feel like, SPD, if this is going to lead to Jericho moving into a commentator role or letting Sammy become the leader of the inner circle and fully take the lead on that, this would be a very fitting way for that to happen, because I feel like there's no greater respect and honor that what Jericho is going through right now. As a fan, I don't know how you're eating it up. And I don't know, we talk about it week after week, Justin. Every time you get to see MJF and Jericho in a segment, it's gold, baby. It's absolute gold. Those guys know how to check the boxes and play to the fans. Pure entertainment every single time.
Yes. Go ahead, Justin. And I'm going to
tell you, and I'm biased because I'm Jacksonville native, but I don't think anybody sings Judas better than Jacksonville.
Now,
Now,
I sing
wait
it
till New
pretty
York
well.
when there's 17,000 people in it, and it's going to sound really good.
I sing pretty well. Let me just tell you.
Listen,
But
that match, man, I tweeted this out last night that was my childhood. That was my teenage years watching Jericho and Juventud Guerrera go at me. That was WCW Nitro all over again. And I was marking out, man. I loved it.
Yes.
You know, Jericho, listen, Jericho going into the Lion Tamer off the top ropes.
Yeah.
Genius. That was a genius move.
Loved that spinning Judas effect off the top.
Judas.
Oh my god.
That was the stipulation off the top
Sick.
rope.
I mean, credit to Jericho. The match itself wasn't always perfect, but that visual at the end is all that really matters, man. That spinning Judas effect off the top absolutely killed it. Loved it. I mean, it was an emphatic statement by Jericho, and it looked awesome. You had to be popping when you saw that live, dude.
We were thinking, he's gonna point up, he's gonna do a frog splash, Eddie Guerrera, and all of a sudden you see Hoovy get up, and you're like, well, what's he gonna do? Never expected a flying Judas effect.
I did.
Sick.
I did.
Look at you, Maddie.
I did. So I got all my predictions right for this Dynamite, by the way.
Squishtradamus. Ooh.
Squishtradamus. So listen, I believe that Jericho's going this hard because this is it.
Yep.
And I don't mean like he's never going to wrestle again. I'm talking about this is it for him being this active, especially now that he is as Striker Dragon. Hey, Striker, for being in. Thank you for joining. Said that MJF is going to retire Jericho. Not exactly, but sort of get him.
Makes a lot of sense. And think about it, like the heat that MJF will get for that, to be able to carry that around as the ultimate trump card, as the ultimate heel. It doesn't matter how many championships this guy wins. To say that he was the guy who put down Chris Jericho,
he's going to be the next legend killer.
Overheat, right? I mean, he's the ultimate heel then. I love the idea. I love where you're going with that, Maddie.
You guys will watch it. You hope not. You guys will watch the
I hope not either.
SPD's crying every time we talk about it. The poor guy is ready to cry.
We can't see.
Literally.
I know. That's why I wear my sunglasses, because to hide my tears.
That was my favorite. So,
SPD loves him too, man. He doesn't want to see him go.
If we're there, at least we get to see him go. If it's it all out, we'll be there live, and I'll be crying my eyes out.
He's not going to go.
I'll bring the tissues for you, buddy.
Please do.
He's going to be in Rampage. He's going to be doing
what the commentary crew is going to be sick.
Sick as freaking hell. We have Jericho, Excalibur, Taz, and Mark Henry. I mean, what? I was going to
four-man crew like this. We're making it work. They can too. Let's do it. Come on.
Yes.
I like it.
I think that the whole thing that's been going on between MJF versus Jericho was for this finale, for MJF to be over so that he could be believable as a leader of a faction, as powerful as the Pinnacle. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's going to be like, okay, we can't fuck with MJF. He's the real deal. He's the legend killer in AEW. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to seeing.
I like where your head's at, Maddie. And you know, we've talked about this at length. And sometimes when SPD is getting choked up, Bonds and I, our lead writer, we'll talk about it. And you know, how fitting would it be then for MJF to think that he beat Jericho and then have to have Jericho on commentary, just completely like it's all Jericho all the time. You know what I mean? Like MJF, then ultimately Jericho gets the last laugh. He gets to tell the world that MJF is the drizzling shits, and week after week he gets to tell him, and Jericho can do that, and MJF can't do anything about it. I would love it. I would love that.
Shits. Hey, Mind Runner, welcome. So Justin, we've spoken about Malakai Black versus Cody. We've spoken about
Andrade.
The boot collector.
The boot collector.
Who you want to talk about next?
The boot collector. Andrade.
Let's
shine my shoes, son.
The Hangman segment.
Oh. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. You know, with Dark Order.
I knew this was going to come.
Well, they came out, then they were stopped. You go back and look at that first take where Hangman comes in and basically says, hey, it's a breakup. He sets a disc on the table, turns around, sets a disc on the table, then tells them that. Did y'all catch that?
No. Now I have to rewatch it.
He sets like a CD or something on the table, sets it there, and then leaves. Well,
it makes CDs still?
Yeah, it's something. It's a CD, DVD. He sets something on the table. Go back and look. I saw it today. He set something on the table for them.
I'm going to rewatch this shit because I don't even see that.
Well, for me, man, like I talked about this, and I had Kenny Omega as my top performer of Dynamite this last week, and it's rare where I will pick somebody who's doesn't have an in-ring match to be the top performer of the night. But this story between Kenny and Hangman is truly some of the most compelling storytelling that you could ask for in the landscape of professional wrestling. The long-term story being played here, the nuances of the character work being done, the layers of grief and doubt and really perseverance that Adam Page is really displaying. The story being, how many times can someone get knocked down and get back up before they ultimately give up? And I think it's a beautiful thing that we get to see Hangman really tested this much going against Kenny. And Kenny and the Elite guys, we take it for granted. But these guys, week after week, not only are they absolutely hilarious, but do they get the job done with as far as in-ring, absolutely killing it and bringing the energy, connecting with the fans. SPD, we talk about it all the time on Dynamite Download. Young Bucks starting off a Dynamite just feels right. They know how to connect with the fans. The energy during an Elite segment is always high.
Yes.
And I think that there's something to be said for that. The long-term story, I was tricked. I thought, oh, man, after Hangman and the Dark Order lost, I thought, all right, well, what's next? And SPD and I have talked it through, and it's obvious. Hangman is still the long play here, guys. Hangman is going to get that revenge, right? It's only a matter of time.
He's gonna.
I didn't care about the Elite before they became heels.
And that's exactly how I
could
feel.
care less about the Elite. Now,
SPD, you hear that? Say that one more
totally,
time, Justin. Go ahead, buddy.
I am totally invested in them as heels. I love it. From the Young Bucks to Kenny Omega to the dorky Brandon Cutler.
Yes.
Just like
Cutler.
The cold spray, baby.
Kenny Omega is on a whole nother level. Like last night after he cuts his promo, then they beat the heck out of Hangman. Then
so good.
All of a sudden he goes, "Oh, now I'm pissed." I was dying when he said that. I'm like, you weren't mad before?
I agree with Stryker. Hangman's taking it at full gear. What you think, SPD? Yes or no?
Absolutely. I still think that is the long build. I mean, there's two ways that I wanted to book the main event, which obviously would be Kenny, Hangman, and Hangman leading the way and then riding off on a horse with a beer, and the crowd would go wild. The roof would blow off the building for sure if that was the case. Hangman leaving with gold. But if for some crazy reason that Hangman does not get that match, and we see possibly if Christian Cage does it, I think does get that match at All Out versus that Rampage or a Dynamite coming up or something like that, and it is that main event. I know the fans won't be as into it, but when Kenny wins, that would be a perfect time to debut a Daniel Bryan for a huge pop to end the night so he could feud with Kenny Omega right away if that was the case for some reason. But Hangman's got to be the play.
The fans would probably turn on that match, SPD. I mean, I love the AEW fans, but Hangman not – if the rumors out there, they're purposely, I think, floating a little bit of Hangman not being on the card. That can't – or not in the championship picture for full gear.
That ain't going to happen. If Page does not – at the end of the day, if Page does not end this year with the belt around his waist, the fans are going to lose their shit.
Hey, Maddie,
what's up, Justin?
A couple weeks, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
They're going to lose their shit.
We were talking about this. We were talking about Hangman and Kenny, and I said to you, it's on your podcast, I said to you, Hangman's not wrestling him at All Out. He's not going to do it.
You did say that.
It's 2 pay-per-views away.
And I said, that's fucking crazy. He's so great. You know me.
Exactly
Once
what
I
you
stick
said.
my son, there's no fucking way he's so getting it at all that. But now I've totally switched my mind. I agree with Stryker. I agree with y'all. It is going to be at full gear. It's happening. It's happening. I gotta move on to my favorite match of the night. I absolutely love
all right.
God's champion. I love
Team heel, baby.
what Miro did for Lee Johnson.
Mhm.
And that's not to say that Lee Johnson didn't do work. Lee Johnson did fucking work.
Preach it though, Maddie. You're right. Preach, girl.
It takes a champ to put over somebody that's not over. When Lee first came out, and Justin, you were there, so tell me if I'm wrong, but I didn't hear people really chanting for Lee until he started whooping Miro's ass, and then I started hearing Lee. Am I right?
You're right. You're absolutely right. But it's amazing how over Miro is.
Yes.
I don't
Yes, he
get
is.
the crowd. I haven't figured it out yet, but we cheer for the heels and boo for the baby faces. I don't know why we do this, but we everybody, they cheer for everybody. Okay, it's kind of crazy to think. You know, Miro comes out and he beats the mess out of Lee, out of Shotty in the beginning, and you're like, dude, this is going to be a quick match.
I said rip.
The crowd's cheering for Miro, but all of a sudden he starts making a comeback, and everything changes. The crowd shifts more towards him.
And that's the beautiful thing, man, is, you know, going into it on paper, you're like, all right, man, come on. It's Miro versus Shotty Lee. Like even just like saying that, you're like,
right?
even just saying that, you're like, okay, this is, we all know Shotty's not winning this match. Come on. Like, that ain't happening. We all suspend our disbelief, but we ain't suspending it that much, right? So, but that said, that's the beautiful thing about AEW is you go into that with those expectations and you come away saying, holy smokes, like Lee Johnson, that boy's been putting in work. Like he's jacked to the gills now.
Yeah.
He was leaning into some of those moves on Miro. He was pushing him. That flip over the top, I mean, he landed on Miro.
Right.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
You know, there's a lot to like about what this kid can do. And that's what I was preaching post-show, SPD, like on our episode of Dynamite Download was, man, Miro, he's one of those guys, Maddie, that is just a pro's pro. People look, even when they get choked out in the game over, they still come out looking better after fighting him, right?
Because
it's a testimony to him, right? God's favorite champion. If you could stand up to him, go toe to toe, there's something to be said for that. Miro's on another level right now, guys. I mean, he is just absolutely killing it. And so when you got a guy like Shotty Lee who can come back and make those fired up moments where the crowd's getting excited for him, it means that much more because of how dominant Miro feels right now, right? He's just that champion. Kenny almost feels like a coward even though he's winning all the time. But Miro does not feel that way at all. Miro feels like a destroyer. Like he's just going to rip your spine out, right?
Yes. And I'm going to sound like an ass for saying this, but the best thing that happened to Miro was Kip Sabian getting injured. And
SPD's smiling ear to ear with that one.
I'm a big fan of Kip. You know, I liked him with that other partner he had. And for some reason, his partner's name just always leaves
Jimmy
my
Havoc.
mind. Yes. Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah, most of us forgot about him.
Who has disappeared.
We tried.
They made a great time. But
just Men in Black me right now, please.
Yeah.
Perfect.
This has been Miro's. It's just been fucking great.
Yeah,
it has been.
Miro, they're making Miro out to be a beast. Kenny Omega's a heel, but like you said, he's kind of a coward heel.
Yes.
By cheating, Miro is a heel and just dominates. Who the heck's going to beat Miro? When whoever does is immediately going to become a huge, huge star.
Yes.
Justin,
not many people
beaming.
come to mind that can beat Miro. And we saw him go through Lance, which we're huge fans of Lance Archer, pretty easily, convincingly.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
I do that to the Murder Hawk.
I'm beaming ear to
I love
ear.
the Murder Hawk. I'm the biggest Murder Hawk Maniac fan, and I was bummed with that booking. I was pretty upset with that, but we're seeing the rise and resurgence of the Murder Hawk right now with his IWGP belt.
Yes.
And so it's good to see gold around his shoulder and his hand, and I think he's going to do some great stuff going forward.
So guys, we have a comment in here, and I agree with this comment. What do you guys think about this. I agree with this. This is who I believe is going to take.
Wow.
This is what I believe as well.
Well, I can see. I mean, Sammy right now. We've been preaching, and we feel like he's going to be the guy who beats MJF, and that's going to be his big moment. Certainly, I could see Sammy being a TNT champion down the road. There's no denying this kid's upside, his ability to connect with fans in multiple levels, whether it's his incredible in-ring work or his vlog that's always super entertaining. He's great on social, great with the fans, home run guy to invest in. But I love what AEW is doing right now, where you look at it and it's like, every single champion, SPD, you talked about this and you were cringing when you thought about it, and you're wondering how will this work? But every champion in AEW is a heel right now, folks. And if you look, and if you
not for long,
every champ in AEW is a heel right now.
Every champ is a
heel. We love it. And what's beautiful about that, though, Justin, is you just were talking about it. There's different styles of heels, even though they're all bad guys. Britt Baker and Kenny and Miro and the Bucks all are operating in different. They're hitting on different wavelengths, right? They're all presented in ways that are slightly different and nuanced that make it. Britt, I was worried sick that I was going to lose the DMD to Team Babyface because of how people are just loving the DMD.
They just love her. They don't
Pittsburgh, she's going to get the biggest pop of the night, right? But honestly, there's a lot of this borderline because all these acts are hitting so well. A lot of them are getting those crowd reactions, and I'm not shocked to hear that the live crowd was behind Miro. It's not a surprise. He's doing the best work of his career right now.
Miro's gonna kill you. I heard that chant.
Justin, I saw a few signs that said "Rip Lee Johnson." How many were actually there?
Say that again.
I saw a couple of signs from the crowd that said "Rip Lee Johnson." Did you see a lot of those signs?
Not where I was sitting. I didn't, but I did see the ice cream bar. We want AEW ice cream bars. I do.
Britt Baker will, and who would, if you had 4 ice cream bars right now? You got to go DMD, the Bucks, Cody. Obviously, Cody gets one, right? Who else gets another ice cream bar?
Jericho, come on.
Jericho, all right.
It's a bubbly ice cream bar, a little bubbly ice cream.
Jade,
a little bit of the bubbly.
Give Jade an ice cream bar.
Okay, you're mentioning Jade. I feel like I showed a lot of restraint, not talking about Britt Baker yet. You just mentioned Jade. Let's talk about the women's division. I feel like Dynamite, there was a lot that went down on Dynamite that really helped advance.
What was that, Justin?
There was 4 things that went down for women on Dynamite, which was probably 3 more than usually happens.
Amen, brother.
True.
And that's what was so awesome to see, man. It was so
let's
great.
tick them off. What's the first one?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, okay. For me, all right, I'm going to jump right in on that. You guys gave me an opening. I'm going to slide right in there. The DMD getting a new challenger with Red Velvet. Perfect setup. You get the smaller Red Velvet, who's that plucky underdog. We've seen her literally, go 0-20 plus before, and we've seen her fight and scratch and claw. And when given opportunities against Jade, looked great in those moments, really stepped up to the plate, really performed. And having her have a little sass and a little attitude back to the DMD was nice. It was a nice change. It put Britt on the defensive. And boy, when Britt was on the defensive, she came out swinging. This promo by the DMD, that's the Britt Baker that we love to see. That's the Britt Baker that the crowd is eating up. Let her be every bit as confident and egotistical and cold-blooded on the microphone as she can be. This woman will literally gut people on live television through her promos, and let her lean into that. Let her, and the crowd is going to eat it up, but let her be herself. And there was some signs during the Nyla feud where we were worried about what was going to happen with the DMD. I'm really glad to see AEW pivot. Got to see that blossom. And then we get to see Lelya Hirsh, who I know, guys, Layla's had this groundswell of support on social. I know all of us are plugged in. one of the few really that stands out as somebody who really has a lot of people who are clamoring for Lelya to get these opportunities. And for her to win this match against the Bunny, dude, that visual against Camille, that's one of those that sticks with you days after the show. It's just one of those things, right? I can't wait.
Yeah. Brendan Beck says, I didn't realize how small Lelya Hirsh was. I saw her in person. She was there last Saturday supporting her girlfriend, Ashley Vox, who is from the Sea Stars, who put up an amazing match, guys. Anyway, I bring it down. She is short. She's beautiful.
She said all that to say she is short.
She is. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be real about that. And that's what makes the visual so great, though, to me.
It does. David versus Goliath.
I love that. You said it, SP. David versus Goliath. It really works. I think that there's a lot of people who are excited to see what's going to happen when those two step in the ring. And again, yeah, Lelya is short, but
she is so tiny.
She's
so
tiny,
much,
man.
Justin.
No doubt, she's tiny. But she can throw some people around, guys. What? And let's be real.
Short. She is muscular. She's short, but muscular.
That's what I mean. And that's why so many people naturally see a connection with her and Team Taz. Which, hey, I'm all for that. Because Taz himself heard that all the time. Taz was too short, too small. But the suplexes that he could throw would get him over. I think that Lela's fun in the ring, personally.
I thought I was short. I'm 5'3", and I'm taller than Lelya. So that should give you.
Wow.
Okay, she's short.
Wow, that's small.
She's very short. So we had we had the whole DMD segment. Then we had Lelya Hirsh and the Bunny, but we also had them fight each other earlier. Which was and then we had Jade. Card. Yeah. Good job.
And
am I missing one else? I'm missing
Chris
something else.
Statlander and Nyla started
Chris
it
Statlander
on the
and
floor.
Nyla. Yes. So
next week, Chris Statlander. Sorry.
She's Chris Statlander. Wait, SPD, the rise of Statlander. What do I always say? Nyla Rose as the gatekeeper of the women's division. You get past Nyla Rose, you slay the native beast, you're made in the landscape of AEW. That's going to happen, and I think it's only fitting. We all see the potential in Statlander. Nyla versus Statlander, you're going to see a powerhouse versus a powerhouse.
It's a tough booking situation because Nyla taking back-to-back losses, the ex-champ, and Statlander, who's undefeated right now, to take a loss. I think Statlander.
Is anybody losing sleep if Nyla loses? And sort of settles into. Nyla. Yeah, I mean, I think that Nyla has had her run, and I think that there's a time and a place. I think Nyla's next run, you got to give it time a little bit. I think there's a lot of other talents on the roster that people are excited for. Ty Conti, Statlander, DMD, Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, Jade Cargill. There's a lot of talent on this roster, and I think Nyla's reign of dominance happened at a time when the women's division was not quite what it is now. And I think it's important to note when the landscape changes like that, sometimes you get left in the dust. And I think that Nyla is definitely in a situation where she's going to need to step back a little bit and reassess herself. I think that the native beast is going to have a moment of reflection at some point. Maybe she takes a couple of losses in a row, SPD. Maybe you put her against DMD and she fails. Maybe she fails against Statlander. Maybe you see seeds of doubt happening because I feel like Nyla needs some complexity as a character. It's kind of falling a little flat at this point. You need to breathe life in it. And she's more than capable of that. We know she's funny on social, backstage and the BTE stuff. She's capable of being more dynamic. Yeah. I just don't think that the way she's presented right now is all that complex. I
think this match with Nyla versus Chris Statlander, who is, my favorite two top wrestlers, is yes, I agree with the comment too. That Chris Statlander and Thunder are like my favorite female wrestlers, and it was a Statlander match that drew me into AEW. That's what was on. My husband was watching it. That was I don't remember who she was up against. All I remember is Chris Statlander, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this? And why am I not watching this?" And that was literally my reaction. I was hooked. That was it. So Chris Statlander, when she got injured, I think I cried. And when she came back in that,
she looks better now than she ever has. So
Yes!
yeah, I mean,
Tremendous.
let's call a spade, man. She looks incredible now.
You spoke about Nyla way better than I do. I agree with everything you said.
Thank you.
Maddie has heard my thoughts on that, so
I have. He's not a fan. The Bird and the Villain are not a fan of Nyla, and that's okay because you know what? There are so many wrestlers on the roster. There's somebody for everyone.
That's true.
The way we always try to approach it, and you know, sometimes people have pushed back. Man, you guys are all positive coverage on All Elite Wrestling. You know, even as a heel, I feel like it's very important to recognize you can always find the silver lining. Every match, every segment, every character, there's growth. There's something happening.
Yes.
And sometimes it takes work to find that. But Maddie, when I was talking about Nyla being the gatekeeper, you said it right away. That's her role. That's not a bad thing to recognize. All right, like Nyla's place in this division really is a test. Is it if people can get over that hump, and there's nothing wrong with that, embracing those things, you know. And you talk about Statlander's growth, embracing her, like right now, you see what she's doing, trying to venture out, gaining more personality, cutting that promo on Dark was fantastic. You start, when you see these things happening, you say, okay, step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. Nyla is not being presented as the top dog in this division anymore. So let's chill a little bit about like that and allow the other good things that are happening in the division to start to say, okay, Nyla's going to have her place. We saw a dominant run from Nyla for a while. Nyla's going to have her place, and it's not going to be where she's just dominating everybody. I think that's a testimony to the depth, right?
Yeah, she did that already.
She did that already, and the division is so much different now. Justin, who are some names? Young, I know everybody is on board with Jade, right? Everybody sees the star in Jade.
She's a goddess.
She is.
Who are some other with Camille kind of coming on? I'm so intrigued by her upside because NWA's track record with women's champions on AEW television has been really good. So I have a feeling that's going to go well. But what are some of those talents in the women's division that, since you're not a huge Nyla fan, and everybody's a DMD fan, I mean, let's be real. Who are some other talents in the division that you like?
Red Velvet, someone.
So you got to be eating this potential feud up, right?
He's stirring it up. Justin's stirring it up.
Red Velvet has improved greatly over the last 6 months. I mean, you can look at Tay Conti's ready to explode.
Right.
The fans are behind her, and she's ready to explode.
Preach it.
And we know how good Serena Deebs is.
Oh,
you know, and it's almost like they're saving her. Hey, a character. I say character. I shouldn't say character. A wrestler that they're protecting is Abaddon.
Yes.
And Abaddon's kind of green in the ring, but her character. This is why I said character a second ago. Her character is special. It's so unique. And all of wrestling, I don't care which company you look at, there's no one like Abaddon in that. And I think there's
truth
for Abaddon. That's what I think. They have something for her up their sleeves, and they're waiting to bring it out.
How do you feel about that, SPD?
You know, I almost forgot about Abaddon, but anytime I see her, I legitimately am creeped out. And that's a tough thing to do. Like, you creep out everybody. But I agree, she does need some more reps in the ring to be more comfortable in the ring and more convincing. I was there live when she faced Sheeta, I think it was, and the pacing just wasn't there for me. And I kind of it was.
You were there for that championship match she had.
Yes. It didn't hit where I wanted it to hit. You know, maybe seeing it on TV would have been a little bit different. But I do like that character, and to be one of one and so unique. Is really something special, and I give props to that character work.
You know what?
Being unique, being one of one, Darby Allin, Maddie, is
the
very
crowd
much.
Is calling for it.
Now, this is a guy who is, to me, I get so geeked out whenever we get a chance to talk about Darby, and it's weird for me because I love the heels, but I eat up everything this kid's doing.
You're the conductor of the Darby train. Give us
baby.
You're a
all
big fan?
aboard. Every week I preach it. This kid is absolutely so rare, so special. He can connect on a different level. As far as creativity, charisma, ability to make his opponents look like $1 million and still maintain his credibility, even if he gets his ass whooped. This kid, his resiliency, his never say die attitude. I love how Darby Allin has really taken it on by storm right now. This kid is the real deal.
Yeah, Justin, you were there. How was the pop for Darby?
It was big. It was big. Not
but I bet
John
Kingston.
Moxley and Eddie Kingston, but it was. They're over. I mean, all three.
You're putting him up again. You're putting him in, and this is why this group worked so well, right? Is like Kingston, Moxley, and Darby. I mean, could you pick a better group of like just naturally over bait guys, people that you'll like root for those guys no matter what they do, right?
Aren't they all so different? All three of them, though.
They
like,
so true.
All so different. Right?
Wild things indeed. It's that is a chaotic group right there. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I don't know if they showed you if they were showing y'all on TV Moxley on the side of the ring, but Moxley like the whole match was psyching himself up. He'd walk to the entranceway, walk back, walk around the ring, walk back, like he was just doing his John Moxley walk everywhere. And you're like,
I love that.
The ring, this match is over. Like,
that's sick.
Can we be real? If you saw a guy like that walking in the street and you didn't know who he was, wouldn't you think he was psychotic?
That's sick.
For sure. It's like the Joker.
I like that little character nuance there, dude. Like that is that is sick by Moxley. Just like that caged animal. Just let me get in him. Let me get him, you know? And the Moxley Kingston thing has worked. That dynamic has really become perfected by those two guys. Kingston gets those chops in every single time, but Kingston has been shown he will take a beating in those matches, dude. Kingston will go through hell. He's the guy who gets the beating, tags in Moxley. Moxley comes in like a house on fire and cleans house, man. It works. Everything about this match worked. That sell by Garcia with the paradigm shift.
Paralyzed.
And I think that's the moment right there that got him another opportunity against Darby, because that is one of those things where you're just gonna laugh every time you see it, dude. It's so good.
And that he's paralyzed.
He was like it was crazy sell. Yeah.
The paradigm
I mean,
I'm
still not fully on board with the Darby Express as you are, Crayfish, the conductor. I still think he's the ragdoll dummy, the crash test dummy that we see so much. I'm not for the 90% take abuse, 10% offense type of matches, but he works so much better in a multi-man match as kind of like the ace in the hole to get those high spots. You know, if he's battling a one-on-one person, you know, this week's match against Daniel Garcia is going to be more of a even keel size battle, so it'll be more of a uniquely wrestled and better wrestled match, in my opinion, where Darby will have the upper hand most of the match versus when he was facing like a Brian Cage or an Ethan Page or things like that. And so I think he works better with someone his size or in a multi-man match.
Yeah, what do you think, Justin?
I'm the caboose then.
Hop aboard, brother.
Love it, dude.
You know, and he's such a, he's the underdog, the guy that nobody saw coming.
Love that story about it.
Sad dude from Seattle, and his real story, he used to sleep in a car. I mean, this guy's a skater. He's even had internal bleeding. He goes hard for what he loves, and then he was a TNT champion. I mean, that was amazing. And nobody
like him.
Nobody but Miro was going to be able to take that belt from it and have it go over well.
Yeah,
so they did it well.
The fans love Darby, man. I mean, AEW, to their credit, I mean, I know that there's a lot of emerging big name talents being brought in, and that's the sign that they're taking it very seriously about being the competition, no doubt about it. But when you see the homegrown talent that this company is really investing in, I know there's a long list of names, but to me, Darby Allin is right at the top as far as the future. I know everybody loves MJF, loves to hate the guy, but when you look at it, Jungle Boy. But to me, Darby Allin is just so unique. He has something special that just resonates on a different level, and I think that there's something special to acknowledge there. SPD and I go back and forth on this all the time. I'm fully on board with Darby, and I'm ready for him to continue to move forward. But man, Santana and Ortiz, you're throwing this out here, Maddie.
I am, because
let's get into it.
So look, before we get into guys, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like. And check out the description. The Bird and the Villain and Dynamite Downloads Twitter handles and their
you want to.
Come on, guys, follow them. They have great podcasts. I wouldn't have them on if they weren't.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just reminding everybody out there, we do a weekly show after Dynamite live, and then we're doing every night on Friday night. So we get 2 shows every single week for y'all. We break up those that Dynamite stuff post match into unique segments. A lot of great interviews. You come check us out. Good content. You're going to be a part of an awesome community too. The people in the chat are always a lot of fun.
Yes,
that's right.
And Justin, you and
hey, you know us, the Bird and the Villain. We like to rock it. We do a lot of interviews with indie wrestlers, some AEW dark wrestlers. This coming week, I'm not sure the day of it yet, we have WCW's Crowbar on with us.
Nice.
So
nice.
We're going to be talking with him. He has some interesting thoughts about modern day wrestling that he tends to put some videos out on.
I like his stuff on Twitter.
Oh, it's awesome. But you'll get your eyes opened a little bit. I've had many conversations with Crowbar the last couple months.
Very cool.
Nice.
Tune in. And another podcast, the DJ Storms podcast. Please tune in to that podcast. Sunny Midnight, Express 17. That's another person that comes on my show. Lou Rivera Yes, he does. He has Everything podcast. Follow that. And We Love Wrestling. I have to say, We Love Wrestling loves wrestling. They are for the wrestlers, not the companies. I love that motto because then you can love everything you watch. So,
and speaking of loving wrestlers,
yes.
loving wrestling, Maddie, there's really no one on the landscape of AEW that I see that you love more than Santana and Ortiz. You are one of the most outspoken Santana and Ortiz marks out there. And, although I've entertained that and I've really loved what Santana in particular has been doing character work-wise, it's really easy to forget that on the other side, Dax has been there step for step with Santana and pushed himself and been absolutely on fire on the mic, absolutely killing it. And FTR beat Santana and Ortiz. I want everyone to admit that the top guys, they walk the walk just as much as they talk the talk. These guys are the team. And I don't care. To me, I've said it from day one at Dynamite Download. FTR, these guys are as good as it gets in the business. They go, no matter where they go, they are always able to be successful and to raise the level of competition to another level. So I love this feud. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen.
I have to interrupt you.
It feels like Santana and Ortiz are meant to win, though. Don't you feel like that?
I forgot one podcast.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Get the plug in.
Four Corners Podcast. Check them out, please. They're 4 amazing dudes. They had me on their show. I'm so sorry. There's so many podcasts, people. So many podcasts.
Wait. We got comic book Bob in here. He has the Wrestling Council podcast.
Yes.
So
anybody else out there?
Support podcast, a Dirty Heels podcast, and Jobber Tears podcast. Okay, I think I got them all. I think I got a Striker. If I forgot one, Off the Ropes. Okay.
Oh my God.
I met all these podcasters.
This is her show. Okay?
Maddie, just start. Maybe at the end, you should just have a rolling comments where you could just plug everybody, and there you go.
I'm gonna start plugging everyone. Start plugging everyone. But yes. FTR versus Santana. Yes, FTR is an amazing tag team. Let's be real. They have that old school feel. They're very technical. They're stocky guys. If they were both bald, I would not be able to tell. They were like facing from the back. I wouldn't be able to tell who's who because they're built the same. They're the same height, same everything. I love them, but there is no way that Santana and Ortiz is not going to have the belts after the Young Bucks. There's just no way. I don't care. They're getting it in Queens, period.
It would be the ultimate payoff if you're giving the fans what they want consistently. With fans back, this would be the ultimate payoff for sure.
Come on.
I mean, it feels like everybody's chomping at the bit to see these boys get a run with the belts. The work that they put in, the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle. The Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle feud has just been absolute fire. I mean, I know that like on our show, Bonds, our lead writer, man, that kid is just eating up that feud every single week. It just seems to in some way, in some combination, you could count on that group to just absolutely deliver week after week. There's always a killer promo, a killer segment, a badass in-ring match. That feud is absolutely bankable, and there's no wonder why they're stretching that out all through summer.
Sure.
Interesting pivot, seeing FTR. I don't know about you guys. I didn't expect FTR, and this is coming from a big-time FTR fanboy. Was not expecting them to get the W over Santana Ortiz, especially with the injury too. You're like, that would have been a perfect out for the top guys to lose that match. They could have had that in an unfortunate circumstance, but they could have leaned into that, and that could have been the reason why they lost, and then that they could have had a rematch. I was really interested to see why that happened. I know they're gonna fight again. Why do you see, Maddie, why do you see this going differently other than my guy Cash getting injured?
Listen, I don't think that obviously that wasn't supposed to happen. I think this is supposed to be a long, long match. I was certainly shocked that Santana and Ortiz didn't win, especially with the crazy pop. They got a bigger pop than FTR, who is from North Carolina. Okay. So when they lost, I was like, what the fuck?
FTR are the type of heels that they actually get heat though. Like they're actually like that,
So like you say, Crayfish, they're like your top guys, and that is why they need to go head to toe with Santana and Ortiz. Maybe
have that feeling though with just this feud and the way they've been going. You do feel like Santana and Ortiz can.
Santa too. Santa and his reindeer would whoop Cash's ass.
I think you already got that feeling with them. It'll be interesting with this injury. To see what happens, to see how that's going to change the story.
Did you guys see that?
I can't believe they showed that. I cannot believe they.
I was smoking.
I'm still having nightmares from seeing that.
I was smoking, and so when you smoke, sometimes you're a little strange and paranoid. And I was like, "Ooh, what the fuck?" I kind of like turned my back to the TV.
Can you do that one more time for the fans out there? What the fuck?
What the fuck? And I fade out. Yeah, that is exactly my reaction to that. I was just like, this is disgusting.
Well, and we shouldn't be surprised. I know that was unfortunate, and it was an accident that happened. But guys, like this feud has been a blood feud. I mean, like I still love it. Look at you now, belly up.
I know. Santana killing it.
Love it. We shouldn't be surprised that these guys are willing to. I mean, and again. Dax laid it out there. You're gonna they're not afraid of anything, right? You're gonna have to kill me to stop me type of mentality on both sides, right? And that's what makes this such a war. Love this feud. And again, an example why Crayfish loves himself some tag team wrestling. It's just such good stuff right now.
Me too.
The AEW tag division, although they have some unfortunate injuries that I think are hurting like the depth of that division, the top of that division is as good as you could ever ask for, right? I mean, it's just so much top level talent.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree with you. You got to look. You go back to Santana and Ortiz versus Best Friends. Like
I miss them. I miss Trent. I do.
That was a blood feud. But
that was brutal.
Good point.
To the next level. Like this is really
and they lost.
Good point, Justin.
Right? So this is time. It's time for these legends, for these guys who have been doing this for 20 years, I think. Please. These guys are not dry. Like, these guys still leave it all in the ring. And Ortiz is getting in shape.
Yeah,
both guys are getting in shape.
Leaned up.
Okay. Right. They, you know why? Because they're going to need to be in shape to defend those belts.
They're about to go on a run, huh? You're going to go about – and let's be real, Maddie. The bar is set pretty damn high because the Bucks, and Kenny, the Elite, they've set the tone. Though the expectation, Santana Ortiz, when they beat the Bucks, no doubt they're capable. but they got some big shoes to fill, no doubt about it.
We were there in February versus the Bucks versus PNP. When we were
man.
all for heel Santana and
so
Ortiz
jealous.
to take the we were cheering for him. Crayfish lost his voice, so I was cheering for him as loud as I could. And so we were ready then, and we're still ready now for them to dethrone the Bucks.
I miss Trent. I know we're talking, in the chat, they're talking about the best friends. I miss Trent. I feel like, we're talking Santana, Ortiz, we're talking the FTR. There are some clear work. I mean, both teams are no doubt stacked, right? But Santana and Dax, I feel, have really emerged as those workhorse characters of those two teams. Sure. I see the same thing with Trent and the best friends. Dude, Trent is the workhorse of that crew. Trent is like such a beast in the ring.
We miss him.
I miss Trent, man. I miss Trent.
We miss best friends. To answer comic book Bob, I do think that best friends will hold belts eventually.
I think that the trios belts are made for the best friends. Personally, I feel like, and we all know the trios division is going to happen.
Yes.
But the golden triangle needs to happen at some point, just so Crayfish can have that cathartic moment. Please let that happen, God. Please, Lord Jesus, let that happen.
The death triangle.
Oh, dude, I am so I can't I love me some Death Triangle.
Okay. So you and me are in the same page that we do not want the Bastard Pac to leave the Death Triangle. Right?
No, definitely not.
Thank you.
Oh man, no. We haven't even had an opportunity to see what those guys are capable when they're all together at full strength. It feels like they're so good that the world has kept them. Penta got hurt. Phoenix got hurt. Pac got quarantined. You got all these things happening where we never really got to see them with that run. Man, if they get that true run, guys, I think that they could do something special.
So we're for it. Justin, are you for it, or are you one of the Andrade people?
I'm absolutely for it.
Yeah, everybody!
Can we make it a clean sweep, SPD? Come on, baby.
Get the cleaner out there.
This is what you guys do? Clean sweep. Listen,
this is new. This is a new one for us.
This is new. Okay, guys, this has been so fun. Any last words before we close out? The Bird, what you got?
Like, share, subscribe to Maddie's channel. She is putting out absolutely amazing content every week. Give her the like, give her the share, and give her the subscribe.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to, anyone wants to join us in the chat tomorrow night, we have Friday Night Flights and Fights, 10 p.m. live Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel. It's a little loose show. We kind of go with the flow. We got a couple topics we want to discuss. Plus, we, take comments and questions from the chat. And a few weeks ago, we did ourselves a fantasy draft, which was a lot of fun. We had a 3-way fantasy draft, and we each kind of drafted our team, and it was a lot of fun. If you haven't checked that out on our channel to see whose team you would pick.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, you see me rocking the bowling shirt. Had a really special moment, not to get, but we had the opportunity to talk to QT Marshall, and we've had some cool interviews over the course of Dynamite Download, Thunder Rosa, John Silver, but for me, this one was important. It just felt special. I know QT gets a lot of hate on social, and he acknowledges that, but QT, for all this man does for this company, all he does for AEW, his story is really a unique one. And I really urge anybody out there, check out our interview with QT Marshall. I think that he really comes he really comes out as a working man's hero, really likable, a straight shooter, really honest guy. And he offers a perspective on AEW that no one really can. I mean, a very unique background into what he does for the company. Really love that interview. Hope everybody gives us a chance. Come check us out on our channel. Likes and subscribes are always appreciated. Thank you guys very much. Look forward to seeing you guys again soon, Maddie. Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for coming on. Of course, I would love for you guys to come back on.
Can't wait.
This has been fun. You guys know me. I'm Maddie, Top Rope Squishy. Please follow these guys, The Bird and the Villain, Dynamite Download, amazing content. You already heard me go over all the millions of other podcasts that I'm so cool with and that I love. And
we're going to have a rolling scroll at the end.
I'm going to have yes, I totally support everybody that's out here doing this. This is a grind. This is work. This is a second job.
Right.
This is
so
not
true.
We love it, but it still is work. It's still work.
We love it.
Because we love it. And we appreciate you guys for showing up. You guys know, follow, subscribe, like, and have a good night. And as I always say, as Squishtradamus, I'm leaving you with a lot of love, a lot of peace, but above all, a lot of wrestling. Good night, people.